Big game this weekend. The top two. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Good timing of the season, I guess, and to travel up there. We haven't had much success up in Hull, KR, especially in the last 4 or 5 games. So it's going to be a difficult challenge for us, but one that we're looking forward to and up for.
Does it kind of feel that if there's any year to go up there and have a good result, is this one at the minute?
Yeah, I think so. All we're in control of is what's ahead of us, and we've worked really hard to get ourselves in a position where we are on the ladder. It's a top of the table clash, so great for our fans that haven't experienced too much of these moments. So whilst we're up there, we need to maintain some consistency.
You think it could be one of those? Does it? Obviously, it's far too early to say what will happen at the end of the season, but could it be a real stake of credentials this game for both sides?
I think it's too soon in the season to put that much pressure on it. I think they've been going really well, being undefeated. Both clubs are in top of the table clash and in the quarterfinals of the quarterfinals of the Challenge Cup. So both have had a decent start. We've got a few boys out that we've had. I think a lot of the media have missed that over the last couple of weeks. Still no Robbie Mulhern or Frankie Holton or Gaz O'Brien last week was out. Josh Charnley, Darnell McIntosh. So, we've gave a debut to about 6 players now so far this year, which is great. And they're enjoying it, and the players that have come in have done a great job.
So by that, there's even more to come then, isn't it? It's been a pretty good start to the season, but
yeah,
if you get those players back, it's you're going to be tough to beat, even tougher to beat.
Well, I hope so. That's the plan. But like I said, everyone's been working really hard to get some sort of consistency here, and I think with so many new players coming in the off season, I was a bit nervous for the first couple of rounds because you just don't know what to expect with so many new faces. So. Those boys have been exceptional, and a lot of them are young players as well that have done a great job. So, that won't change for the rest of the year. They've got that experience now. So, we've just got to keep our feet ground and keep working hard.
Are you surprised then by the start you've had? Just
a little bit.
By saying about new faces, yeah.
A little bit, but also I think probably acknowledge too that we've all worked hard to achieve it. So it's not by luck. Whilst we've got a lot of new faces. We've had a really strong pre-season. Everyone's had a crack, and the hard part now is to pick the team each week when players are going to start coming back over the next couple of weeks.
You've obviously mentioned the injuries. Anyone close? I've saw the lines about Darnell McIntosh earlier this week about his shoulder and stuff. How long are we looking with him, and what's the rest of the state of the squad like?
Yes, sad news for Darnell. Obviously, probably one of our best pre-season trainers, but hurt himself in the last day of camp in January, and so has missed every game up until the game against Batley on the weekend, where he started for us on the left wing and did some really good stuff in that time. Scored a try and just popped his AC. So that'll anywhere be between 4 and 8 weeks out with that. So sadly. We'll get around him and support him with that. He's one of our leaders in this group here, so he's going to miss out. But I think players like Bailey Hodgson, who come in off the bench to replace him, has done a great job at fullback or wing or centre, wherever he's played this year. AJ Towers, that's in a similar position. So, but in regards to players coming back, Robbie and Frankie Holton will be back in the next week or two, hopefully, and Charnley probably won't be too far off the back of that.
Which is good news. I was also reading quotes this week by John Wilkin talking about Isaac Liu and how he thinks he has the potential, if he's not showing already, to be better than John Asiata. Do you agree?
Oh, look, I saw that in news as well, and it's interesting because he's a very similar player with John, but he's also got that experience that John has got, and obviously the time that John had here, it's a very big influence on how we play and had a lot of success on it. But Isaac, I guess, is creating his own, our this new journey that we're all on collectively as a group. So the way that he's fit in and the style we want to play, he's picked that up really quickly, and no doubt he's playing some great rugby, but I think his best rugby is still ahead of him. So I'm pretty excited about that, and just his combinations with the players around him, he's certainly put his imprint in the team, and I'm hoping that we can keep improving as a group through him and our attack, both sides of the ball.
Brilliant. Good luck for the weekend, mate. Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
Hey, mate, if no one else is going to talk, I will. How far
You're
back
the
do you
best at
go?
that, Steve. You're the best at that, mate. Far away.
Talking. Um, how how far back do you go with Willie, mate? When did you first meet Willie Peters? And can you say a little bit about how obviously it's not easy to come in as a head coach on over here, not knowing a club, and to get everyone to like you and get everyone doing what you want them to do. It's not no easy feat, is it? So
No.
can you just say a bit about Willie?
Yeah, Willie and I go back a long way, and we're very, very close friends. And Willie actually was the halfback at Wigan in the 2000 grand final, I think, and I came in to replace him. So I moved into his house the day that he moved out to go, and I think he might have St George's House. I think he went to from Wigan, and yeah, we literally high fived in the corridor. He was walking out the door, I was walking in, but we've obviously caught up before plenty of times, and I've had the same manager as players, so we've known each other for a very long time. But he's done an amazing job up there at Hull. I think the timing of his arrival there was good. With new owners coming in, and they've certainly been very aggressive on the recruitment side of things, and spent probably more money than any other club in Super League. So that's potentially helped the process. They've got a new centre of excellence or training facilities getting built up there, so the club's heading in the right direction there, and it's good times for Hull KR fans, and obviously lost a couple of big games in the last couple of years, but they've worked hard to get there. So obviously very respected, and I presume he feels the same way about me and Lee here. We followed a very similar path once we've come back into Super League with Lee. Both clubs are certainly heading in the right direction, in both on and off the field.
Where Costa's calling the game on Sunday off the TV, so that's why I get some content for before kickoff. And just for listeners or viewers of the match, what do Hull KR do well, and what will be the early indication that your side's doing what you want them to do? What will you be looking out for early in the match to indicate that you're on the right track?
Ooh, a bit of rugby talk here, Steve, eh? I like it. I think they're a well-connected group, well coached, and obviously they're a team that are all front foot, both attack and defence. And they rely heavily on a tackle six kicking game where they apply pressure and score a lot of tries through that. And by doing that, they win a lot of field position in front of their home crowd as well. They're very difficult to beat, and even if they're not playing well, they still find a way to win. So we've got to try and upset that rhythm a little bit. We've got to be more like us, I guess. And when you've got so many new players like we have at Lee, it's very difficult to come up with a different game plan every week so soon in the season when you're just trying to get them to all play on the same page. And luckily we've done that, but you'll have those moments that we had up in Hull FC where we're not quite connected, and that takes a very long time to work out. Hull have only made a couple of really important signings to make their team better, but the majority of the squad have stayed together there. So you can see that the way that they play, the players that have come in are senior leaders that give them direction and give them seniority and experience as well. So they are a team to beat this season for every trophy that's available. But for us, it's about going up there and just trying to keep the identity of Lee and who we are. The moment, top of the table clash or, the event travelling up there is we played Hull FC the other week and we didn't get home till 2 o'clock in the morning. So, that's a challenge in itself that we've got to put aside. But to go up there and play well is important for us. We've got a really big month ahead of us with the Challenge Cup quarter final, Wakefield home and away with that, and then we go into the top sort of 4 games. So, for us, it's about making sure we improve every week, and this is another opportunity for us to get some game time together to be able to do that.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Okay.
No, mate, I'll go with that's all right.
Hey, Ben.
Are you okay?
Good, you?
Obviously, yeah, good, thanks, mate.
Good.
We spoke about it last weekend, obviously. Haven't beaten KR since Wembley, and I know you said you take it game by game, but eventually that monkey's got to sort of come off the back, hasn't it? Do you reference it at all? I know it's different squads.
Yeah, look, I think we don't talk about that really in the team room when we're preparing for this particular week. We've gone up there with a lot of injuries in the last 2 years as well. We haven't and it's the same this week too. You know, we've still got players like Robbie Mulhern out and Holton and, you know, Charnley and McIntosh and Gaz O'Brien coming back now. So we've still got a lot of our big hitters out. But for me, it's about, you know, making sure we get a consistency with our performance with all these new faces in. You know, we've got to learn these lessons. So when we go up there, whether we have the best performance of the season or it's not quite there, it's another chance for us to learn. So, you know, we'll take it one game at a time. And obviously this is important to us, being the top of the table and an opportunity to try and get one back.
Yeah, I think you got nailed by him twice last year, didn't you? You know, somewhere deep down that's got hurt.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that, Ben, to be honest with you. So it hasn't hurt up until you just said that. But that's a good point. And we're working hard on that. You know, there's reasons why we made some tough decisions to change our squad right across the board. Just to give you an understanding of the way that this group has changed with the numbers and different faces coming in, and that's got something to do with it as well. So that all plays a part. But we're aware of that, and we've made changes to be able to, you know, change the way that that happens.
And just lastly from me, I'm going to sort of press you on the recruitment front again. You said you had your finger on the pulse. Anything changed in that sense?
Well, I like the way you're thinking, mate. But, you know, just as a reminder, we've got quite a spot available now. We've also got a fair bit of money in the bank to spend. So nothing has progressed from that, but we're on the pulse every single day.
Cheers, mate.
And, mate, when we find out anything new, you'll be the second to know. Okay?
Brilliant. Thank you.
Hi, Adrian. It's Martin here.
Hey, Martin.
Well, I just hope I'll be the first to know, mate. But
You'll be about ninth, mate, but we'll get to you eventually. I'm joking.
okay,
You're important to us, Martin. You're important to us. We'll let you know as soon as
stall off on
possible.
that basis, but just a quick one. I mean, just looking at your start this season, compared to last season, it's chalk and cheese, isn't it? You know, you're in such a stronger position than you were last year, and yet even so, you still managed to get into the playoffs, you know, with, I think, 2 wins from 9 games at the start of the season. Do you feel actually a lot more confident about your chances of actually winning a trophy this year? And especially, for example, with Wigan being out of the Cup, you must have had a wry smile at that one. And actually, Hull's performance there made your draw at Hull look a lot more respectable.
Yeah, with all respect, I think when Wigan got beat, I think everyone in rugby league in the UK had a smile on their face. Just because, well, you want someone else to be successful, don't you? You don't want the same teams winning, and it's important that teams like Hull FC, who have struggled at, you know, the last year or so, get those moments. So, you know, good on them. But, you know, in regards to us as a group, we have had a better start than last year, near on perfect. So you know, that's important to us. We changed a lot of our pre-season this year, fixed areas that we felt we let ourselves down last year, so there's been improvement there, and we brought some players in that can play the style that we want to play. So, you know, we're heading in the right direction as a club. You know, again, big numbers in memberships when you're talking about the bigger picture of rugby league. You know, we're at the top of the table as we speak, but we also appreciate and understand that you don't get there by luck. It's been hard work, but it's also it can be gone in a week. It can be gone in 2 weeks. So we've got to just make sure we keep our feet grounded and just keep working hard.
I'll just ask your reaction to the Challenge Cup draw, Wakefield away. Not the easiest draw you could have got, but still a winnable game, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, they're playing some decent rugby as well. You know, let's not be fooled there. And it's one of the hardest places to travel to and play well and win. And they're going to be up for that. You know, it's just going to be a ding-dong battle, that. It's going to come down to the last 10, 15 minutes of that game. So, but we've parked that away for now. We know who we're playing. We know we've got a really important game this week. And then we play Wakey 2 weeks in a row. And I think a few of the clubs that are still left in the quarterfinals have got double weeks where they're playing the same team 2 weeks in a row, which is which is a really difficult thing to do. So, you know, I think Hull don't play. They're not too far apart as well. But you know, all we can control is this week. You know, we've had a big week against Batley last week, and we're trying to find our way this week into a game that's going to be like the intensity of a grand final.
Okay, mate. Well, good luck this weekend, and
Thanks,
great
Martin.
to speak to you again. Thanks, Adrian. Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Bye.
Adrian, you alright?
Hey, Sam.
I just wanted to. You mentioned the Hull KR atmosphere. They don't play many games on a weekend. Do you think that? Obviously, like, there's the big kind of perception of under the lights on a Friday night or Thursday night, etc. Do you think the fact it's a weekend and you got that afternoon kickoff makes a difference, or is it still just the same team regardless?
No, not really. I think it's a great day. The weather's meant to be good. It's a great opportunity for. I think rugby league is on a Sunday afternoon. I mean, that's what I grew up on. So I presume everyone in Hull, that's a Robins fan, is going to turn up there and abuse us as we walk through the door there, like they always do, which is exactly what we want. So we're looking forward to that. That's certainly not going to interfere with the way that they play. They're playing some good rugby at the moment, very physical. They've brought in some experienced players that are aggressive. So it'll be a great challenge.
And then you mentioned there the weather, like with the way that you play. This, I mean, I think it's fair to say he already has broken out and taken Super League by storm. But this could be a huge game for someone like David Armstrong, couldn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think like round one, the new players that come in, I had to. It's hard to explain to them what it's like until they experience that themselves firsthand. And whilst you can tell them that there's going to be, 23,000 people at the World Champions home ground on a Thursday night, for them to, you can build the week up, but they've got to experience it themselves to be able to understand what Super League's all about. And they got a lot out of that week. And this is just the next level of that as well. So, it'll be no different. Be really physical. There's going to be a lot of, hopefully a lot of tries on our end, but none from them. And fingers crossed we get through with a real physical, tough performance, and we're proud of our performance.
Yeah, and just double checking, was Darnell the only injury issue from the Challenge Cup game?
Yes. Yeah, Darnell will be out around about 6 weeks.